Hi guys, Radhika here again. I hope you all are doing well. So today I wanted to make a video on how you can set boundaries with narcissists. And if you are an empath, I would say always have boundaries because empaths or people pleasers, we kind of give too much of ourselves, not just to narcissists, but you might overdo things in a lot of other relationships too. Um, and yeah, and we overdo like our part, and we expect something in return, which we don't actually ever ask, but if we don't get it back we don't like it. So yeah, that's like a hidden behavior of an empath. But yeah, basically, how do you set boundaries with narcissists? That's the topic we want to discuss. So yeah, now this will again depend upon what stage of malignancy your narcissist is on. So please, that's a disclaimer. So this will not apply to everyone in every situation, but I'm just trying to outline some situations and how it can help covert narcissists or overt narcissists who are not physically abusive or who are still more on the sanity side but still on the malignant side. Yeah, so with these kind of people you really have to pick your battles, because if you've ever been with a covert narcissist or even an overt narcissist, you will see that they will attack everything you do after a point. In the beginning, of course, they are trying to play nice, so they won't do it. But after a point, they will attack everything you do. Like, even if you're drinking water, they will say that, oh, you should not drink water this way, you should drink it the other way. So you really have to pick your battles, because if you engage in everything that they say, you will just waste your whole day in trying to convince them of something. And basically all they want to do is they want to waste your good energy. They don't want you to use it for productive things, for good things. So you have to conserve your energy and you have to pick your battles. So I would say that learn to ignore a lot of things. Don't ignore the important things, but like little comments here and there, really just let it go, because you know why they are commenting and you know what's the agenda behind them, and it's such a childish thing to actually fight. So just let it go. Um, okay, then second point I would wanted to say is that don't be extra nice. Okay, don't um, try to be as authentic to what you are feeling in your expression. Okay, so sometimes we don't actually like something, but we will show that, oh, we love it. Like, especially if the narcissist is giving you gifts, or in the office environment, if the narcissist presents an idea, you don't always have to be like a fanboy or fangirl for them. And I know that you might be in that pattern with the narcissist of always like fanning their ego, but you kind of have to step back from that pattern a little bit. And you don't have to be critical, but at the same time you don't have to be extra nice. Okay, so don't try to be ideal, like, because narcissists, they will train you to be ideal, do it this way. And if you do it, sometimes they might even like praise you a lot, and so they give you this kind of motivation, to always keep on doing what they want you to do. So you kind of have to be aware of it. And you don't have to, you are not childish, you're not like a child now that you need everyone to appreciate you all the time to feel good. So that's why I say know yourself. If you know your self-worth, then you don't need anyone else to appreciate you, because you know you are great. So you don't need that validation from anyone else. So yeah, don't be ideal, don't be extra nice to them. Be the most authentic self that you can be. At the same time, I would say, also try to be a bit grounded. So don't be emotionally driven, because that's what they want. They want to see you flare up in anger. So even if they say something hurtful, center yourself, take a few deep breaths, and then you can tell them that whatever you said was really not good. It was not productive. It was not healthy. Okay, so you can say these 3 or 4 words, and then that's it. Walk away. You don't have to hear their reaction. If they're shouting behind you, let them shout. That's what the narcissist hates. They hate it when they are saying something and you are just walking away from them. They can't take that. They just can't. So yeah, so just say your truth and walk away. Okay, you don't have to engage after that. But if you want to say your truth, say your truth. But I would also say, don't say it every time, because then it again becomes a game for the narcissist. So it's kind of like a tricky situation, and you'll have to fine tune it to your situation. Okay, so in different settings, how can you do this? So if you have a narcissistic boss or a narcissistic coworker, just make sure all the communication that you do with them is over email. Even if you discuss something over chat, always make sure that you send an email that says, okay, as discussed in chat, and so and so. And you can copy whoever you think is important on the email. And yeah, so always keep like a written record of what was agreed upon, because a narcissist might back out on things at any time. So you have no guarantee of the word that a narcissist is giving you. So always make sure that you have like a written track record of anything that was agreed upon. So if you have a coworker who keeps taking credit for things that maybe you have done, or the team has done, or other people have done, then you can make sure that if you have an idea, or if there is something that you are working upon, make sure you keep giving updates to maybe your boss or your boss's boss, or the team, or the area in general, the engineering area, or other kind of area where you are working. Just make sure that you keep sending some email updates and things about it. So it is some additional like added tasks that you have to do, but this will prevent the narcissist from taking up all the credit in the end of like a task being done. Okay, then if you have narcissistic friends, then I would just say, please make new friends, make better friends, because friends are something that um, from of all the groups of things, the responsibilities are the least, and friendship is like a heart based relationship. It's kind of relationship that brings, like birds of a feather together, like all the souls that are vibrating on a certain frequency, they come together. So yeah, if someone fooled you into being in a narcissistic group, you can always leave it, right? And you can always make other friends. So you might have to deal with issues like being alone for a while, being without friends for a while, but it's easy to make friends, and there are so many meetup groups, so many different ways available to meet like-minded people. So yeah, you can try out some of those ways. Okay, then narcissistic parents and siblings. So this is again a little bit complicated, because you might have parents or siblings who are dependent on you. So in that case, I would say again the same thing. You have to pick your battles. So you have to make a priority list of the things that are really important to you. Say you have narcissistic parents who are very intrusive, say in your private life. So you have to make sure to tell them that if they keep prying about your private life, you can tell them that no, I'm not discussing that. You don't have to get angry on them, but you can just tell them, no, I'm not discussing. Because at the end of the day, it is you who controls what you disclose, right? No one can actually read your mind, or read your aura, or read your energy, or read your past and figure out what has happened. So if you tell them, they will know. So you control what you tell them. Okay, if they are living with you, you control what you tell them. If they are so they will go on different things, sometimes they will be on your food habits, sometimes they might be on your television watching habits, sometimes they will be on your friends, that why do you have these friends. Sometimes they will complain about your spouse, about your children. So you really have to mostly ignore them. Secondly, if they are just talking and like irritating you, ignoring them is the best way. But if they are actually affecting people, like if they are talking down to your spouse or to your children or to your friends, or they're spreading rumors about you, then you can tell them that I do not like this that you are doing, and see their reaction. Okay, because I have seen narcissists who react very strongly, but they do stop doing what you tell them to. So I have seen all kinds of people, like all kinds of narcissists. There are some who will just fight you till the end of the earth over a topic, and they will continue to do it. So when you are dealing with that kind of a narcissist, pretty much everything is fair game to them, so they will just pounce on anything that you are saying. So with such kind of people, the best thing is low contact. Even if you're living with them, try to maintain as much as distance as you can from them, even in that house. Okay, if you can remove yourself from the room that they are in, do that. If they are sitting in the living room, go to the bedroom. If they come to the bedroom, go outside. So you have to maintain a distance from them. Get a good pair of noise cancellation headphones, get some good music. And I know it's difficult to live your life like this. It is difficult when you don't feel free in your own house, but I understand that sometimes we have some duties that we have to do, because even if we don't do them, we will not feel good inside our hearts. So you have to do them, but at the same time you also have to maintain your own sanity. So yes, it is a difficult task, it is very difficult. So yeah, and so yeah, basically you have to do this and forget the attitude of being extra nice. Be courteous, be the nice human being that you are, but don't be extra nice, which the narcissist has trained you to be. Okay, don't be like a doormat for them, because they kind of train people to be doormats. So you don't have to be. It's fine, like they did that and you did not know at the time what was happening. So that's okay, that's a learning experience, but now that you have learned it, you don't have to redo the same mistake. Okay, so that's parents, and it gets a little complicated. So if you can go no contact with your parents, if they are young, if they can support themselves, or even if they're old but they are so abusive that you just cannot, and you are not at that stage in your healing that you can be around them, then I would say maybe you can arrange something for them, like an old age home or something like that, and get them settled there and work on yourself. And then when you are able to face them, maybe you can go visit and things like that. So I actually am not in that situation. And when you are talking about your parents, it kind of gets very tricky. So I don't want to I don't want to speak about something that I don't know so much about. So yeah, I would say that that's what I would say, that look at your situation and you know best. As I told you, use your intuition. If your intuition is telling you that I cannot be with my parents, I just cannot, I have to be alone and I have to like recover myself, then that's what your intuition is telling you. So I would say listen to it, listen to your intuition. Okay, then narcissistic in-laws. Okay, so if you have narcissistic in-laws, then it becomes a little less difficult than having narcissistic parents, because then it's your spouse's responsibility to deal with them. It's not yours. I know that in a lot of cultures we are taught like, oh, you marry into this house so they become your parents, and that's all good in like romantic movies and all the movies that have everything that's happy happening around it. But to tell you the truth, I think the narcissistic spouse is the the spouse is the one who should be handling his or her narcissistic parents, because after a while, if you are the one who's handling them, they are going to like exhaust you, and it is not your part to handle your spouse's narcissistic parents. Okay, so you can have low contact, minimal favors. If they try to control you by saying, do this, do that, just either politely refuse, say, no, I can't do this, I have some other appointment that day. Or you can just say that, I don't feel like doing it, and that's a valid enough response. If you don't feel like doing it, you don't have to explain why you don't feel like doing it. So yeah, or you can just not say anything to them and don't do it. So try to put as much as distance between them and you. You don't have to talk to them. You can talk to them on special occasions, on birthdays, and keep uh, information exchange at a minimal. And if your spouse is telling that, why are you acting this way with my parents, then you can tell your spouse that, you know, I am acting like this to your parents, and hopefully your spouse will understand why you are acting like this. And I would say just give up this pressure of being an ideal son-in-law or ideal daughter-in-law that has been put by generations um, on especially Asian cultures, you know, Indian cultures, that you have to be this ideal daughter-in-law, you have to be this ideal son or son-in-law or ideal daughter, because um, because there's a lot of social pressure in such societies to fit into a particular mold. And and a lot of people in society lie. Like, I have so many friends of mine who actually hate their in-laws, but they just act like they don't and they keep faking it all the time. They will fake it in social gatherings like, oh, my in-laws are so nice, this and that, but if you actually see in their hearts, their in-laws have hurt them so much. But they have to keep on playing this role of being like an ideal daughter-in-law, ideal son-in-law. And then what happens is, because they are playing this role, they become judgmental of others who are actually speaking out about it. So they will say that, oh, you are not you are too westernized, or you are not following our tradition, you are not Indian enough, and they will say all these things to you. So let them say it. It doesn't matter, let them say anything they want. So yeah, I mean, I have been called like a witch, and it has been said that I do black magic. I have done black magic, and I have done something to, control and this and that. But you know what? It's if I was a witch, I would be so happy, because I love Harry Potter. I love Hermione Granger, and I would just be happy to do magic because it's magical. So let people say anything they want to, and you can add some humor to it. You can add some, like, let it go kind of a thing to it. And it will take some time, because we have been programmed to be like people pleasers since we were kids. But it's time that we rewrite the programming that has been done socially on us. And it's time we start living consciously from our authenticity, instead of just putting on this mask all the time. It's just tiring. Okay, cool. So the next one is a narcissistic spouse. So this is a very, 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 very tough one. I would say it is the toughest one, because this kind of it kind of changes the direction in which you are taking your life. I mean, I know it's hard with a narcissistic parent because the bond there is very strong. But with a narcissistic spouse, and especially if you have a child in the picture, it becomes even more difficult because it kind of shapes the future that you're going towards. So I actually am not in that situation. But what I would say is, see what on the spectrum of narcissism, where is your partner, because we all fall on that spectrum somewhere. And a lot of time, healing yourself does a lot of good if your partner is not so much on the spectrum. If they are just mirroring behaviors that they might have seen when they were growing up from their parents. So maybe their parents were narcissistic, but they have picked up some behaviors which are narcissistic, but they themselves are not narcissists, but they mirror these behaviors. So in that case, you can give them a chance, I think, and you can see how they are behaving. Of course, you have to set your boundaries. So if your narcissistic partner is if your narcissistic partner is kind of talking down to your children or scolding your children or being abusive in some way which you do not find healthy, you have to take a stand and you have to tell your spouse that you did so and so, and I am not going to tolerate it going forward. Okay, and keep some consequences that if you do this the next time, something, so I'm not really good at that kind of a situation because I don't know, I don't like this punishment reward kind of relationships. But set some consequences, like like I will hold it against you or something like that. So I'm actually really not good at this. So you should watch some videos in which you have real experience of people who have narcissistic spouses, because I do not. And I would not know how to deal with such situations, because I have seen people deal with narcissistic spouse, and it seems very very difficult to do it in a healthy way. So yeah, I mean, it's a hard advice to give because it depends on the situation, and it depends on if there are children involved, if the partner is has enough support to be on their own and things like that. So yeah, also for narcissistic in-laws, I wanted to mention one thing. If you have children, be careful, because your narcissistic in-laws or narcissistic parents even might involve the children in the narcissistic gameplay. So they might scapegoat a child and they might try to make one of the grandchild as the golden child. So you have to be very careful, because they might start doing such comparisons or forgetting one child by mistake, or always mentioning good things about one child but completely not saying anything about the other child. So if you are in such kind of situations, make sure that if they say something good about one child and you are in the same room, you say something good about the other child. So these are small ways in which you can offset uh, the damage that they are trying to cause your children. Or you might see, your brother's children or sister's children or whoever. You can try to offset the negation. You can try to bring some positivity into it by uplifting the child who is the scapegoat. So yeah, you can do such things, but be aware that if you have narcissistic parents and narcissistic in-laws, they will not just stop at you. They will go down one generation, and they will also bring the grandchildren into the narcissistic play. So yeah, so these were my ways of setting boundaries. And so it's not always like a boundary, it's kind of like it's like a strategy. How do you deal with things? So if you know your strategies, try to experiment with them, write them down, and you can keep on changing them according to situations. And with some time you will get a feel of what is working for you. But yeah, again, I would like to underline that minimal interaction, minimal contact, minimal favors, just minimalism, just to minimize any kind of interaction, contact, energy exchange, anything. And also I would say, focus on self love, because that will help you offset all the negativity that comes in, with being with a narcissist. Yep, so this was this video. I hope this helps you, and I wish you all a lot of love and light. Thanks, bye.